going on, everybody? Welcome to the Forte Podcast. I am your co-host, Dominic Epps.
And I'm your co-host, Randall Monfiston.
And we are here to dive into your lane of greatness to discover what comes easy for you that may not be easy for others.
Everyone's a genius, from the 9-to-5 employee to the Fortune 500 billionaire. We're here to highlight those attributes with dialogue and interviews with amazing guests.
So, what is your forte?
What's your forte?
Hey, listen, we have an amazing guest today. Let me just go ahead and prepare to get him out the green room. We got an amazing guest, you all, and I hope y'all are ready for him because he's going to drop some nuggets after nuggets after nuggets. And I just hope y'all ready. I mean, he goes by the name Money. So I just hope y'all, I just hope you're ready. Because this is my homie. He puts out great content. He has some amazing businesses. So I'm not sure which forte he's even going to speak of today. But the one and only, man, I got to say, bro, I'm glad to have you here.
It's a
Money
pleasure.
Briggs, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. What up?
Man, life, blessings, prosperity, always up. How are you?
Hey, man, we great, man.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Great, bro. We glad to have you in the room. You feel me? We glad to have you in the room, man. So,
Awesome.
hey, do the proper introduction. Let everybody know who you are, right? You don't have to name all million companies you have. You can give us like your top 3, right? And then we'll dive in more with some questions for you.
Yeah, for sure. So, name's Money Briggs. I'm an award-winning entrepreneur based in Hampton, Virginia. I love solving problems for purpose-driven, visionary entrepreneurs who see their business as a ministry. The companies that I have are in alignment with that mission. So I own a wealth management agency where we do insurance, financial services. We do retirement planning, mortgages, so on and so forth. Back in 2021, we became one of the top 10% nationwide for the largest insurance agency in the U.S. When it comes to sales. And I also own a marketing software company, which helps individuals to go into a flow state by focusing on their zone of genius. And that company is called Flowsper. So it's like an amalgamation of the words flow and prosper put together in one.
Wow.
Man, I just want to say I only knew about one, so I didn't know about 2 of them. And you say you in the top 10%. Yo, clap it up for that, man. Clap it up for that. That's what's up, man. Yo, congrats on that. How long you been doing each of those businesses?
So I started the wealth management agency back in 2020. We opened February 2020. The pandemic happened March 2020. Everybody was shut in, and the marketing software company, I actually just launched that in August of last year.
So what would that mean to like somebody who's listening who's not familiar with the marketing software? Like, what industries do you serve? Or I'm not saying what limit you to what industries, but what kind of clientele are you bringing in? What problem are you solving? Like when people come to you and they say, I have this problem, what are you doing so that you could kind of bring into layman's terms for the audience members what marketing software means?
Oh, I love that question. And thank you for tossing that one up. So I really, really believe in helping the entrepreneur holistically, particularly, again, African-American entrepreneurs. And so what we see, are either of you familiar with the digital divide?
Nah, I'm not.
Nope. Okay. So again, in solving the wealth gap, a portion of the wealth gap is attributed to the digital divide, which was when the internet started to really blossom and flourish. There were certain communities that had access to the technology from elementary school all the way up to, their high schools. And certain communities like ours were often excluded from having access to to technology. And so when it came time for jobs to be made or software companies to be made, so on and so forth, there was a digital divide that further exasperated what was already the wealth gap. So as tech companies started to come out and we started to see your Microsofts, we started to see, your Amazon, so on and so forth, we were excluded because we did not have access to tech. And so right now it is said that we are in the second digital divide with how we either come towards or repel automation and what we're seeing with chat gpt and things of that nature. So for individuals um, who are looking to grow or to scale their business, and they have structure and they have this passion, they have this zeal, but there's a lot of tedious tasks that they do that take them away from their zone of genius, like following up with customers every single time you're texting customers, each of them one by one, following up with emails, trying to keep up with your calendar, doing your social media marketing every single day. Like individuals who fall in that bracket, they generally work with us to help to automate those processes. So inside of our system, you have your CRM system so that you have the capability of staying in constant contact with your clients. You have your ability to schedule out social
Briggs, real
media
quick.
posts.
Briggs, real quick. CRM.
Yo,
Break that down. What's the acronym? Just to make sure it
yeah,
doesn't go over no one's
CRM,
head.
that's your customer relationship management tool, right? And so what
Okay.
that is, and I tell you where I actually learned about this. I learned about this, the CRM, the first CRM I ever worked with was at Nordstrom. So I used to work at Nordstrom, and I would take these people around, and that was also like my first time really having close contact with well-off entrepreneurs. The clientele would come in, I'd work their shoes, I'd get them to get clothes, so on and so forth. And at the end of the transaction, built into Nordstrom's system, I type notes about what I learned about this customer, their likes, their kids' names, their grandkids' names, what were some of their favorite brands, and I type notes after each interaction, and I could go back 2 weeks later, and if I saw an item that I think would bode well for them, I could go back and I could say, oh man, this person likes this, this, and this. Let me give them a call. And so it helps to build relationship in a very natural way for the entrepreneur. And with the information that you capture, you're able to nurture relationships with your client. And so we have that system there to help you to not just be a company, but to be a person, right? And to make sure that you're able to distribute that attention across all of your clientele.
So let me
So that's there.
let me
Mm-hmm.
back us up a little bit. Let me back us up a little
Yeah.
bit, right? So let's talk about where you're from.
Yeah,
Give us your upbringing, right?
for
And
sure.
because I need to be able to build for an audience like how you got to this place, right? So talk to us a little bit about your upbringing. I heard
Yeah,
you played a little sports here and there. You know what I'm saying? So talk to us a little bit, man. Where you from? How was things
yeah.
for you growing up and all of that?
Yeah, so I'm from a place called Newburgh, New York. Newburgh, New York is about an hour over the city of Manhattan. Growing up in Newburgh, it is the most violent city in the state of New York per capita, right? And so it was, I guess you could say, an impoverished community. It was a community that, like, it's always gray.
Mm.
You don't have transportation like in and out, and so it was pretty rough. Um, I moved to Virginia when I was 13 years old. Um, Prior to moving to Virginia, I had my own little crew that we would run with, and we caused some mischief around town, I guess you could say, for lack of a better term, and wound up coming to Virginia my 13th birthday to live with my father.
So you
And
got
from
hold
there,
on, slow it down. So you got sent here, right? It was one of those. All right, I'm not putting up with this no more, right? You think you grown, right? So here's what we're gonna do. Let your dad go put up with this. Is that what happened? Like shoot it to us straight. Is that?
not necessarily, somewhere in the vicinity, but not necessarily.
Oh,
So
okay.
my
All right.
parents
All right.
had this. I tell you, and I say the reason I say some way is my parents they got divorced when I was very young, right?
Okay.
And so my mom lived in New York, my dad had moved down here, and looking at the trajectory of where my life was going and the opportunities that I had there versus here, and the trouble that was starting to fester.
Mm,
The courts made a decision that it would be better off for me to be in Virginia than to be in New York. And
okay.
so yeah, partially because it was a court's decision, not necessarily like my mom was like, "Yo, you got to go live with your dad,"
Okay. Okay.
but it was more of a like, "Hey, if he stays here, the outlook isn't going to be promising."
Gotcha. 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 What you got,
Yeah,
Randall?
So, do you feel like coming from humble upbringings, being shifted to a different state and location, I'm pretty sure there was some challenges, reacclimating yourself and all of that. Do you think
right.
any of those things were the ingredients that helped build you to who you are today? And if so, what takeaways do you think added that you want to say that were part of the ingredient pool to create you into the man that you are today?
I think that the environment was I don't think the environment made me. I think the environment helped to reveal what was in me. And what I mean by that is, like, you could take an apple seed and you could plant it in New York and it's going to flourish because the climate is good for it. You could take that same apple seed and take it down to Florida and try to plant it in Florida and it's not going to do as well. Same thing with the orange seed. You plant it in Florida, you got an orange tree. You plant it in New York, you're probably not going to get it because it's not the right environment for it. So what I learned was the power of environment. If
Mhm.
you have all of this talent, this skill, this ambition, because when I was younger, I still felt very much purpose filled. I could go to bed listening to Tupac as easy as I could go to bed listening to the "I Have a Dream" speech, right? And so my family, my grandmother, when growing up, who I was with a lot because my mom was a hardworking single mom, right? She worked two jobs. She was going to school, so I was with my grandmother a lot. My grandmother didn't have a TV inside of her home. My grandmother had books, and she was wise enough and had enough foresight to know that tech was going to be a thing. She had a computer that we play computer games on, so it wasn't like a PlayStation. Like, you're learning how to type while you're playing this game. And so, like, I started to have all of these I had the makeup or the shape to be successful. I just didn't have the right environment. When I got down here, it was a total culture shock. I mean, my dad lived in a really good community in Hampton and Michael's Woods, and you know, it was hard for me to go to sleep because of how quiet it was
Mm,
in Michael's Woods. I'm used
wow.
to the sirens. I'm used to the gunshot. I'm used to somebody yelling. I'm used to like all of these things. So it was hard for me to go to sleep. But now that I had that same level of grit and ambition, and I had new opportunities to apply the grit and ambition to, slowly but surely things start to fall in place. And I can't discount divine intervention. Like, I don't get to where I am without God, because there's a lot of things that I just truly can't explain how I met this person to that person to this person. What I can say was I was prepared when opportunity came based off of my desire to achieve self actualization.
Mm. So I
Man,
heard I
man.
heard something, right? I heard something, and it reminded me of something my mom said. Man, this was probably about 3, 4 years ago, when we had moved my mom in with us when we were still in Virginia, right? And so her first night, she says to me, "It's too quiet over here."
Mm-hmm.
She's so used to Saratoga, the guns, and I mean the gunshots and all of this
Mm-hmm.
going on, right? She was like, "It's too quiet over here." I'm like, "Yo, you
Mm-hmm.
safe? Like, why are you concerned about the quietness when you know you're safe, right?" But
Yeah.
it also speaks to how we've been conditioned when you are in a certain environment, right? You don't know that you are in a dangerous place or a place that's not really going to help you fulfill your full potential, right? Until you get exposed to something different. So,
Right.
kudos to the judge foreseeing that, hey, this is not the best place for him, right? Not saying
Yeah.
you couldn't thrive in that environment, but at the moment, because you
Oh
were
no,
so
I
used to that.
definitely, I
Go ahead.
definitely wouldn't have, bro.
Yeah.
It's not a not could have. I wouldn't have. When I got to Virginia, I had a 1.17 GPA. I was
Mm,
in honors classes throughout my whole schooling, And the only reason they kept me in honors class is because my teacher was like, we know that you're smart. You come here, you pass your test, but you don't do any of your work, right? Like I just wasn't around the I wasn't around the right type of people to push me to that next level, And so that's like I can't thank God enough for that transition.
Right.
And to your point too, like the exposure, I always tell people exposure is so critical because as you said, you don't know what you don't know. Like to a lion, there is no such thing as concrete. It only knows the jungle,
Right.
right? Until someone introduces it to concrete.
Right.
So and I like to bring that point up because a lot of times we can be judgmental on people who are from these inner city communities without access to alternatives and wonder why they do that.
That's good.
You have to understand that's their whole world, that's their whole knowledge base, that's all they know.
Yeah. That's good. So who introduced you to business? Let let's get to that.
Well, real quick
So
before we get to that, like because you started your business, like I want to kind of transition from you go from high school. What's the gap in between high school and you starting your businesses? Because I want to touch on how a lot of people of our audience members who are doing the 9 to 5 and they're probably still juggling that transition of entrepreneurship. So I want to kind of speak to what you did, like 9 to 5 was, or were you a full time entrepreneur, just had different businesses? So I'm wondering what's that gap between high school and then now you start into two businesses, your first business, then to your second business.
yeah, so um I started working when I was 15 and a half. Started working at Farm Fresh, my first job. Um I I always had some entrepreneurial desire, right? But I was working at Farm Fresh and went from Farm Fresh, was promoted to assistant manager for produce, realized that physical labor just isn't for me. Like, I'm not the type of guy to want to exert a lot of energy in that regard. And so I moved over to sales, door to door sales as selling ADT systems. And was really well there. That's where I first kind of started to understand how good of a salesperson I was. I had a great mentor introduced me to the book How to Win Friends and Influence People and some other great books. Left there and went to Nordstrom in sales. Was positioned to be the assistant manager for shoes, but it was a lower commission or lower base pay. Left there, went to a call center, went to Sprint, went to a call center, did well there. And here's the real pivotal point in my entrepreneurial journey or my journey overall. I had an opportunity to go from Sprint call center to a Verizon call center. Verizon in Hampton Roads is like the king of call centers. You make it there, you're at the top of the mountain. They were paying 3 times as much as I was making with Sprint. And I left Sprint to take on the opportunity to go to Verizon. Verizon essentially wound up closing down the class that I was supposed to go to. I'd already left Sprint and I tried going back to Sprint. They were like, no, couldn't get into Verizon. And this was a move of faith. And this was my first entrepreneurial endeavor. This was 2015. It was my first entrepreneurial endeavor because I felt led to only work for Verizon at that point. Like, no, I didn't want to work anywhere else. I was married at the time. I'm the sole breadwinner, and I'm like, yo, I'm not going back to work until Verizon offers me something. And that's how I got into graphic design. That's how I got into building out websites. That's how I got into my initial phases of doing coaching. I have a background in ministry as well. So I was a youth pastor, and my father's a pastor, grandfather's a pastor. And so I had some level of community and some level of recognition from ministry. And so I did that for about 6 months before Verizon came around and offered me a position. But the position was 2.5 hours away. It was in
Oh,
it was
wow.
in Salisbury, Maryland. So I live in Hampton, Virginia. The position was in Salisbury, Maryland, which means I had to get up every single morning, get get to Verizon at 8 o'clock in the morning, 8:00. If you came in 8:01, you were late. You late 3 times, you lost your position while you were in training. So I had to get up every morning, drive 2.5 hours, pay the $13 toll going up, the $5 toll coming back every single day. 5 hours on the road, 5 days a week, every week that I did that, I lost a day of my life inside of a car. And so I did that. I was the number one salesperson in the territory, the Mid Atlantic region, before finally coming back to Verizon in Hampton. The call center in Hampton was like 7 minutes from my house. So I made it there. I was successful there. Became a temp supervisor. Took a team, turned the team around in less than 30 days from being at the bottom of the district to one of the top, at least 7 across all lines in the district. Thought I was going to get the full-time supervisor position. Did not get the full-time supervisor position. Was devastated. In that same time period, over about a 2-year period, I had like 6 or 7 deaths took place. My cousin was killed by Richmond police. I had a friend that was shot in the head in a robbery. My grandmother figure had passed away. I had a friend who was about to get out of jail who wound up just dying mysteriously. All of these things happen. And then like the cherry on top is I don't get this position. So now I'm in a place of depression. I'm in a place of like that. I feel far from my purpose. And so that's kind of like the leading up to a divine moment where I meet my mentor. And he introduces me to insurance first because he was my agent. He was my insurance agent. And he introduced me to the opportunity. And yeah, man, I had $15,000 in my 401k. That was my life savings, all that I had. And I took that $15,000, I put it into the opportunity to open up the agency. And the first month was February. The second month, we were the number one life insurance agency in Hampton Roads in 2020 for our territory and the DMV
let me
area.
pause you, Money. Hold on. Let me pause you.
Yeah.
How much time did it take, or how much training did you have before you opened up your agency? Before you decided to invest at $15,000, how long were you a licensed insurance agent?
So I got licensed. November 2018, and that's when my friend got shot in the head. And I didn't start with my my opportunity. This was like part time. At first, I was a part time salesperson for my mentor because I was still working at Verizon. I didn't want to lose that income, and I was just like, I'm gonna do it part time. So I November 2018, I got licensed. January 2019. I started doing life insurance again part time. I was selling so many policies, doing it part time. By June of 2019 is when I interviewed for my office. I went into internship. I think in August of 2019 is when I started internship, and then February of 2020 is when I actually opened my office. And now our office does auto insurance, homeowners insurance, life insurance, retirement planning. But prior to opening my office, I never sold an auto insurance policy, a homeowners insurance policy. I only
Wow.
knew how to sell
Wow.
life insurance, and I had only started like 5 months prior to interviewing for the opportunity.
Now,
Man,
was the opportunity presented to you, or were you inquisitive to ask, hey, what can I do next that I'm, climbing up the ladder? Like, what's next for me, right? Or what did your mentor approach you and say, hey, we have an opportunity? If you're interested, this is what it's going to cost to get in. How did that
Yeah,
transpire?
yeah. So, that's the beauty of this. When I went to do the interview for my office, like there's a story behind that too, man. And I don't know how much time we have, but you know, trust God in all a better opportunity financially. But I felt that God told me to go to Hampton, and when I say better financially, I mean it was like 50 to 60% higher in income going to Chesapeake, and God told me to go to Hampton, and we wouldn't. I don't think we would have had the amount of success we had in such a short period of time prior to if I did not go to Hampton. And God wound up making it straight on the front end, where by the time that I opened, I was actually getting more out of the Hampton opportunity than I was out of the Chesapeake one. But when I went to interview, um, the people were like, "Yo, this is unprecedented," because your mentor, most people will hold on to you because it helps his agency with your production, it helps his agency, right? And so they normally hold on to you for a year or 2 years, whatever. It's like, no, he's giving you this opportunity, and you've just been there for 6 months. And so it was a bit of, I was ready to move, and I think a great mentor can kind of tell when you're ready to be, when it's ready to let you go. And so I think that he sensed it, and he was obedient to how God was leading him, and it changed my life.
Man, this is, and we haven't even touched the second business yet, and you giving us great content with the first. Man, this is so. Just to capture what you do with life insurance, because I do want to capture what you do with the second business and the marketing software and all of that for the business owner out there who trying to get lead generation, all those automation tools that you offer. But
Yeah.
for life insurance, I'm assuming you sell all life insurance from wholesale, term, universal, and all of that.
Yeah.
We've had some great insurance conversations, by the way. We've had some great insurance conversations. We don't have time right now, but let me just throw this
Okay,
out there.
so
Yeah,
so how about this?
the short answer is yes.
Yeah, there you
The
go.
short
Okay,
answer is yes.
all
So
right. So
we'll
I
do
just
the
want
short answer.
so for your life insurance business, tell the people where they could find you, how to get in contact with you if they're trying to get any form of life insurance, or just get some information on what they can do, especially for entrepreneurs. I think people underestimate how they could leverage their life insurance now instead of it just
Yeah,
being a death gratuity type of thing. So for
yeah,
those in the audience, know that's a lengthy conversation. Just know that you could use it now for some form of business or real estate. So Briggs, tell people
yeah.
how to get in contact with you when it comes to life insurance.
Yeah. So the office 757-978-3282. Again, 757-978-3282. And for entrepreneurs, I think what's important too is understanding we don't often think, when we're entrepreneurs, we don't get benefits packages like regular 9 to 5 people would be. So beyond the life insurance, it's also like your disability, it's your retirement, it's a litany of things. And the so for every dollar that a Caucasian owns in net worth, an African American owns 9 pennies, right? And so entrepreneurship helps us to kind of offset that a little bit. But if we don't have the proper security around us to protect us as being the money making machines that we are, we could leave our families in very distraught scenarios, um, with just one incident. And so life insurance is critical, supremely critical. And what we could do with it from investment standpoints, but also don't neglect like your health insurance and things of that nature as well. But yeah, 757-978-3282. You could give the office a call. You could shoot an email, dbriggs@dbriggsfinance.com. You could shoot an email there, and someone from the team will wind up helping to take care of you.
So here's
What
so
about
here-
what
so
about
here's what
Instagram? I got
here,
Go
here's
ahead.
what we're gonna do real quick, because I got his IG. I already put that on the screen. I'll put it back. But
Okay.
we're gonna have a quick break, you all. For those of you watching, we're going to give y'all opportunity May 4th. Randall's going to talk to you about the amazing event that we're having May 4th. So give us 2 minutes and we'll be right back. May 4th, the Forte Experience is coming back to Washington, D.C., Cambria Riverfront Hotel. Make sure you go get your tickets right now. www.theforteexperience.com. www.theforteexperience.com. This is all white. You missed last year. You do not want to miss this year. We have some amazing guests, special guests. You want to be in it. Trust me. Visit www.theforteexperience.com, or you can scan the QR code that is on the screen. We're looking forward to seeing you all on May 4th for the all-white rooftop networking party, brought to you by Rover Capital and the Forte Podcast.
Bird is on sale now.
Right now, man. So we are back. We're back with Money Briggs. is here dropping. Hey, Briggs, man, listen, we got to talk about this because Randall, I'm gonna tell you what happened. And we're gonna make it short. So Briggs made this post on Facebook, and he knew what he was doing, right? You know, he understands algorithms, so he know about engagement, right? So he makes this post, and I'm like, at first I'm like, you know what? I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm reading it. I'm not even gonna respond. I'm not even gonna respond, right? Like, you know. And so it's in regards to insurance and the different policies and how they're individuals. I think it was something about how individuals that talk about using your insurance as an investment, right? I say, you know what? He's slick. So I ended up commenting, and he said, "How about this, bro? Let's do a live." It wasn't even we didn't even call it a podcast. We just said a live sit down, right? Let's do a live sit down dialogue where you give your input, and it was about IULs, right? You give your input, I give my input, and it was great, man. It was great. One of the things that this brother has is a wealth of knowledge. For any of you that have had the opportunity to be in his presence, to speak with him, you know that he's going to drop gems on you, right? He's going to give you some information if it's in regards to marketing, if it's insurance, if it's investments, if it's when it comes to click funnels for your business, right? Or funnels for your business, like he's going to give you a whole bunch of gems. And I'm not sure where you're going, Randall, but I just want people to know that this is a good brother to know. Right now, I know he's not so accessible now. Right, so if you got to call the assistant to get to him and schedule an appointment, well, that's on you, right? You know what I'm saying? He's up now. He's Money Briggs now. You know what I'm saying? So he done came up to a whole nother place now. So you got some steps to this. You can't just call him and think he's going to answer the phone. You know what I mean? And I had to understand that. Even sometimes I'd be reaching out like, you know what? Nah. All right. He gave me this number. Should I share this, bro, about your two numbers? Do everybody not know this?
You can. Oh yeah, there are two numbers. There are two numbers. Yeah. And so there's one number that everybody calls it the bat phone. If you get into the bat phone, you're phenomenal. Like I really, 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 really rock with you. And it's only because, we're finite, and so I'm not saying like I'm this extraordinary, huge, big personality, but it could be a lot when you think about juggling multiple companies and having multiple conversations and meetings and so on and so forth. And then, someone calls and they're calling you because they got a flat tire, and it's like, yeah, you could call the office. Like, that's why I employ people for that, because my mind is so many other places. So there's a selected few who I trust them enough to know that they're not going to abuse the number that that they have the phone. And Dominic is one of those people that I respect enough to say, man, like if I ever needed something, I want to also have that same direct access to him. And so
facts.
So yeah,
I think that's you protecting your time, bro. You protecting your time
sure.
and putting people in the phone that understand your time because they understand their time. People who don't use their time wisely can't appreciate other people's time.
That's a bar. That's a bar, brother.
Yeah. I get that, yo. It's a struggle. It's a struggle at times when people call you, reach out to you. I'm not at the second phone yet, but I could feel that itch at times. Like, man, like what? Like it can't be somebody else that's dealing with this.
Especially when you have a good heart too. When you have a good heart, and that's the thing, is because it's hard for me to say no. I could everybody that calls, I would try to answer their phone, and then like I'd have a schedule of things to do, and none of those things will get done because I'm answering. And that's one of the things I had to learn. And as like transitioning in business and overall, it's the power of opportunity cost. This is one of my favorite concepts from economics, is the power of opportunity cost. That whatever I say yes to, I'm saying no to a litany of other things.
Hold on, mic drop. Yeah. Hold on. Say that one more time, man. Say that one more time. Yeah. That right there.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So whatever I say yes to, it's the opportunity cost. Whatever I say yes to, it means that I'm saying no to a litany of things to say yes to that one thing. Wow. And so I always give the example, if I'm thirsty and I go into 7-Eleven, right? and I can see, I'm like, okay, there's a Coke, there's a Dr. Pepper, there's a water, there's a Sprite. We all know what the healthy choice is. But if I say yes to Coke, I'm saying no to the Sprite, to the Dr. Pepper. I'm saying no to the water. And in me saying no to water, I'm also saying no to the effects that water could bring me, the vitality that water could bring me. So that one choice has a ripple effect throughout all of your life. And so you think you're just saying yes to this, but
Wow.
really, like, you're saying no to vitality. And so when you put
Man.
it in that frame, like every time I say yes to answer the phone, and then I was supposed to be doing something else that was going to help the company advance or whatever, I'm saying no to my company advance, and I'm saying no to making sure that my employees that I'm making enough revenue to pay my employees. I'm saying no. So it's not just me saying no to you, it's I have to say yes to something that I've already pre-scheduled because it has an impact on other people that I've already calculated for.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good. That is good. How so? Just for personal curiosity, how
Yeah.
effective was that? Like, did people pick up and understand that, or they still felt the way that you were saying no to whatever they're asking you?
Let me answer it. Let me answer it. The way he
Yeah.
has his automation set up, you don't even know it. You like the only reason why I know it is because he told me, right? But
Okay.
honestly, the way he has it, he's a big technology nerd, right? So he has this thing set up to where if you send him a text, you're gonna get an automatic text, and it's so personalized, you're gonna think he's texting you, right? But he ain't texting you. He's not texting
Wow.
you. You know what I'm saying? So it's
What?
dope, man. Yeah, it's very dope. So for those of you
Yeah.
watching, if you want to get to that level for your business, y'all make sure y'all hit him up. I got his contact information up here. You can text Forte
Yeah.
to 757-703-3211, or you can hit him up on IG as well. But he has some systems in place that can help you focus on what you should be focusing on and allow automation to take care of everything else. So I just wanted to put it in there.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys bringing me on. So when they text that number, I have like a whole marketing bundle that's gonna come to them. So the marketing bundle is, I did an ebook called Website Woes That Running Your Business Growth. So it gives you the tips that you need to make your website more effective for sales and conversion. Like I said, back in 2015 is when I left Sprint and I started building websites. It's going on 10 years now. And so websites, funnels. So it gives you like the tips to go through there. There's a digital copy of my book, Fail Fast, Fail Often, Fail Forward, which gets into digital marketing and how you could get over fear of rejection, and the fear of failing as an entrepreneur. Like, that is just par for the course. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's going to get rejected. This is a numbers game, and most people are at under 50%. You know what I mean? If you're at 10% close rates in most industries, you're doing pretty good. So, that means you're getting told no 90% of the time. And if you have an aversion to rejection, which really gets into a deeper level of like a lack of identity, then it's going to be hard for you to make. And so that book is included in there. I want to say the Grow Beyond Local workbook, which Dom, you attended, and the
Yeah,
tickets for
yeah,
that was like $1,000.
yep.
But I think I put the workbook inside of that bundle as well. And then I have like a 45-minute training on marketing, just very high level, light training on marketing. It was a Facebook Live where I was teaching some people, and I included it into that bundle as well. So if they text that number, they're going to receive all of those pieces of insight and resources to help them to grow their business.
That's dope.
So, real quick, like, because we've talked about the automations for our website, and well, I know
Mhm.
that you say automation, and I understand that people can understand. Okay, I'm automatically sending texts, I'm already sending emails, and that saves time. But what else are you getting with these automations, right? Like, what are like some of the key, let's say, top 5 benefits of hiring you to automate somebody's website, their text messages, their emails, or whatever have you, to be able to save them time?
Yeah. So beyond the time, when individuals they came into entrepreneurship because they had a passion, they had a purpose, they wanted to make profit. Right. I think that if every business owner should be in entrepreneurship for those three reasons, right? That I'm passionate, it's something that brings me fulfillment, it's purposeful, it's something that helps others, and I want there to be profitability, like not just revenue, but profitability. And what happens is through individuals running the business, for most African American entrepreneurs, we start off as solopreneurs, which means that we trade our 9 to 5 for 24/7, right? Like now I have to do the marketing, I have to do the customer feedback, I have to do the social media posts, the email marketing, I have to build a website, I have to, like, there's all these things that you're doing that's taking you away from your zone of genius and where God has gifted you, which then diminishes your ability to make an impact in the world, right? And so I truly believe that entrepreneurs are professional problem solvers. And if you're not solving the problem that you're great at, we're not getting you at your best and highest use in your zone of genius. And so what the automation does, if you don't have the capability to hire somebody full time to do this thing, the automation and having a strong system allows you to hand off tedious tasks that are repetitive to technology so that you have the capacity to operate in your zone of genius where you function best and where people can get the greatest impact from you, as opposed to you feeling overwhelmed in your business and you are questioning whether you should continue your business because of everything that you have to juggle. So before we even get to like understanding time is the resource that allows you to provide your best effort to make an impact in the world. And so when I say I'm giving you more time, it's not just the hours, but it's what you could fill in that time. Does that make sense?
That's good.
So I'm gonna use your word. Yo, you saying yes to the automation, or let me rephrase that. You saying no to the social media posts, to the text messages by having automation do it, so you can say yes to living your genius.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right.
Exactly. And it's like getting into a flow state, right? Like that flow state happens. And when I say flow state, some people say it's being in the zone or whatever the case may be. It's where you're working in a place that you love so much that the hours feel like seconds, right? It's like you're so in tune with what you're doing that it's like, yes, this is what I was made to do. When you are doing things that you don't like to do, that you have to force yourself to do, you don't get your highest productivity and you don't get the highest satisfaction from the work that you do.
Yeah.
Beyond being successful, and this isn't just something for people who are like struggling and trying to, but even being successful, like you could be successful and not be satisfied in the work that you're doing. And so this gives you some way to take ownership back over your satisfaction. So that's one. Two is it helps to build customer loyalty, retention, right? Because if you know your customer's journey from not knowing you to becoming what I call a fire starter, someone that's a brand loyalist and someone who's almost like a microphone for your business. So you're taking someone from not knowing you to becoming a microphone for your business. If you know the stages that people have to go through, and you know that at different stages, you're going to send them a text message here, you're going to do an email here, and you understand your avatar, like the people you serve really well, like the reason Dom could say, "Hey, it sounds like he's actually texting you," is because I've thought through this whole conversation with my picture perfect person. What would they say if I said this? Like I'm already thinking through what that response is going to be, and then I'm programming to say, "Hey, here's a response to that response." So but because it feels so intimate, you get that high level of personalization where you never drop the ball. Because there are times if you text me, not because I'm ignoring you, but because I'm doing so many other things, I may not get back to you. But you're gonna feel like I slighted you. But if my system is texting you back and my system is having a conversation that I've already pre-thought, right? Which is a beautiful depiction of, like, I always say God created automation first. He put the seed inside of every tree, the tree inside of every seed, and he said, look, be fruitful and multiply. I'm only creating this thing one time. The rest of this is automated by design. It's the same thing that we're doing with the marketing. Like, I'm going to put this into the system one time, and the rest is just going by design.
Man, listen,
That was good.
listen, y'all. We have to wrap this up. I think we got to have a part 2, part 3, part 4, or just see him at the mastermind. If see him in the mastermind, right? But make sure,
Briggs, you gonna be at the mastermind? You gonna be at the
I was
Forte
there last
experience?
year. I was there last year. It was phenomenal.
I just want people to know. I want the audience to know that you're gonna be in the building so they can meet you face to face and get any questions that they got answered.
Absolutely.
Any questions they got answered.
So listen, if you're watching, go ahead and text the word Forte to 757-703-3211 and get this marketing package. All right. Now, listen, for those of you that have a business and you are ready to scale your business, or you're ready to focus on your zone of genius, right? And you got all these other things going on, make sure you text Forte to 757-703-3211 so that Flowsper. There we
Prosper.
go.
Flowsper.
I love it. I love it. All right. Listen, because we all need to have great systems in place, right? As he was talking, Randy, I was like, yo, we need something. You've been saying this to me for years. Hey, man, we need a GC. Dom, you don't need to do everything. You need to be doing landfill, picking up. So I'm sometimes it takes somebody else to communicate something for it to hit, right?
Briggs, where you was at 2 years ago? Where was you at 3 years ago, Briggs?
Yeah.
I needed this.
Yeah.
I needed this.
Yeah. So, but listen, y'all, we want to say very, very, very a big thank you, Briggs. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you for everything you're doing in the community, not just business in the marketplace, but in the community at large, right? You are very active. And for what you're doing for the body of Christ, for what you're doing for 757 and the world at large, man, we appreciate you. Continue doing big things, man. Continue doing big things, man. Y'all give it up for the one and only Money Briggs.
Come on.
All right. Well, listen, y'all, we are about to be out of here, but we want to make sure that we let y'all know what's coming up May 4th. Talk to him, bro. Talk to him. Let him know.
May 4th, Cambria Riverfront Hotel, DC, all white attire, rooftop, network and party. Come socialize, come get some food, some drinks if you drink, network, learn about how to improve your business, scale your business, learn better strategies for your business, or come to share knowledge with others that are looking to try to do those things. But Cambria Riverfront Hotel, DC, May 4th, all white. Tickets on sale, www.theforteexperience.com. Early bird tickets are on sale, so you want to get them now before the price goes up. Don't be that last minute person because you're going to pay that last minute price. As a matter of fact, be the last minute person so we can get that last minute price out of you.
No, don't be the last minute person because we don't want you paying the last minute price, but we do want you in the building, whether you're last minute, right minute, or you, yeah. So, hey, we're so glad that Money Briggs was in the building today. And thank y'all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this show, make sure you put your comments in the chat. We got you on YouTube, on Facebook, on IG. And, we're getting these episodes out the way, and y'all going to see what we have coming. So thank y'all so much for tuning in to the Forte Podcast. I am your co-host, Dominic Epps.
And I'm your co-host, Randall Monfiston.
And we out of here.